All right, Nick, let's talk about the Oregon Ducks coming into a game against an extremely feisty Iowa team. We knew it was going to be a tough one. They couldn't look past them, but they're able to get the job done. And after the game, there's some news that, if it would have came a little bit sooner, probably made this game a little bit easier, but it's going to be good news for Oregon going forward for sure. We'll dive into all that in just 1 second here. But first, I'm Andrew, that's Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, great performance by Oregon against the Iowa Hawkeyes, but nonetheless, this team got some good news, and I think Oregon fans are going to want to hear this. Going to be very helpful for them going forward. So let's jump on into this article, and we can talk more about it on the other side. So talk about this team, what they could have used. They could have used some offensive firepower in this one. It was a really tight game. Not a lot of points scored, 18-16 victory over Iowa. They could have used some of their weapons, but their weapons were not there to be found, dealing with some injuries. Talk about Kenyon Sadiq and most notably Decorian Moore. And I think Corey Moore, it was one that you love to have him in this game, kind of a surprise. He was not there, but now we've got some great news regarding him going forward. It said, in a surprise appearance on the injury report, Oregon Ducks wide receiver Decorian Moore was ruled out prior to the team's Week 11 matchup with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Sources say it's a knee injury that isn't expected to be season-ending, which that is good. There's not much left of the season, so that means he should be back soon. So after the game, head coach Dan Lanning offered an injury update on Moore, providing an update on Sadiq as well. It says Moore tweaked his knee, Lanning said, but expects him to be okay. Their update on Sadiq really was nothing to say, just said he's dealing with some long-term lingering injuries and didn't really give a timetable on whether he would be back anytime soon or not. But talking about Moore, a tweak to the knee and that he should be okay makes me think that he will be available going forward. I think this is really good news for the Ducks because offensively, they could have used a little help in the receiving game. Having two of your top targets out is going to be tough. And this is an Iowa team that when we look at what they've been able to do to some opponents going forward, their defense has really kept teams super tight. They lose to Oregon. They hold Minnesota to 3 points. They hold Wisconsin to 0. They gave a tight one to Indiana. They weren't able to pull it off, but kept Indiana to 20 points. This is a team that their defense has been very clamping going forward. So without your top two, weapons on this offense, this was going to be a tough game for Oregon no matter what. Able to get it done. Let's look at one thing that I think was very notable in this game is when some of your receiving targets are out, the running game has to step up, and Noah Whittington did a very good job, as well as Jordan Davis, and Dante Moore had some big runs in there as well. But this is a team, did a really great job running the football, 261 yards on the ground overall. Leading rusher, Noah Whittington, 118 yards there for him, long run of 27. So this is just a team that was able to pivot. They surprisingly had some guys out. They weren't expecting that necessarily, especially Corey Moore, but they're able to pivot, get the thing done, get the game going with the rushing attack. So I think that was a really good, effort by them to be able to pivot and attack things the way that they wanted to attack it with the rushing game. So great job by them. I think this is gonna, pivot forward, showing this is a team. When the tough gets going, they can follow up. This is a team that can battle through adversity and really show some strong performances. Because talking about rushing, we'll look at Noah Whittington a little bit closer. This year, he's only had one game over 100 yards, and that was against Rutgers, and admittedly much weaker team. Coming against this tough defense in Iowa, able to have another big 100-yard performance for him. So great news there. So I love what we saw on the field for Oregon. I think this Ducks team looks really good going forward. They need to win these last couple of games, so I'm glad that we have, the opportunity for Decorian Moore, and potentially didn't say, Sadiq is out for the season or anything like that. Just said that he's been dealing with some stuff. But going forward, there's some tough games on the road for Oregon. So this is going to be a not easy road to hoe for the last few games of the season. But I think we've seen out of this performance against Iowa that even when things get tough, this is a team that can get it done. Curious what your thoughts are on all of this, Nick. But before we get to you, Oregon fans, in the comment section below. Like I said, tough game. A lot of different parts of pieces had to step up. Let us know in the comments below, who's your MVP for this game? Probably a little bit different than you thought it was going to be. So maybe we get some different options in here for the MVP of the game. Let us know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what are your thoughts on everything here with the Ducks?
So I think last year, the 2024 Oregon Ducks can be described as talented, as good. Obviously, they won the Big Ten. They were undefeated. But unfortunately, the other word you can describe them as disappointing, right? They obviously got smacked in the Rose Bowl in the playoff against Ohio State. This year, the 2025 iteration of the Oregon Ducks, a different word describes them. Gutsy, right? This is a team that's overcome adversity. Dante Moore had to leave a game with an injury against Wisconsin, found a way to win, right? This is a team that got lost to Indiana, right? They took their first regular season loss in 2 years, right? It was tough defeat. Indiana's a good football team, but the reality is that's a tough loss. Oregon has bounced back, right? Iowa on the road, windstorm. It's cold, it's raining, it's miserable. Iowa somehow hangs around by some crazy bonkers way that Iowa seems to do, right? Especially at home. They scored a goal up late, 16-15, right? Late, 2-3 minutes to go in the game. Dante Moore is obviously a little banged up, hamstrings bothering him, right? Obviously, Corey Moore is out, Sadiq is out. It feels like a game where, maybe Oregon loses and drops another one, and their season maybe goes down the tubes with it. But what do? They find a way to persevere. Methodical down the field. Dante Moore with some clutch plays. Kicker buries it right through the uprights, and they escape with a quality ranked win on the road. Listen, last year, the Oregon Ducks, I thought they were an incredibly good offensive team. They were efficient, and they had a lot of just talent everywhere. And you could see it in the NFL today, right? I mean, look at, of course, Derek Harmon doing things with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Connerly with Washington, right? You can find a bunch of other guys playing in the National Football League right now. Some young guys may not even necessarily be stars, but, guys making some plays. And then Bridges at corner comes to mind. Holden, wide receiver comes to mind. Like, there's a lot of guys that played for Oregon last year. Tez Johnson, I think, comes to mind as well. It's just the guys who played for the Ducks last year that are playing in the National Football League now. They were a talented bunch. Of course, Dylan Gabriel, but he's with the Browns. We don't want to talk about the Browns too much. But this is a team, the 2025 Oregon Ducks, that I still think they have NFL talent. That's undeniable. But they're different. They know how to overcome adversity. It's just some teams have it in their DNA. It's something that you really can't coach, although you try to. You try to incentivize it for sure. But they have the ability to just overcome toughness, overcome challenges. It's one thing to win close games, and obviously Oregon did that in 24. I think they barely beat Wisconsin 16-13, for example, right? And they beat Ohio State in a close game in a thriller, right? I think they beat Boise State and Ashton Ginty early that year too. It's not just winning close games; it's how you do it. You do it when you're on the road in a miserably cold environment with a Rockets fan base fighting for their Big Ten season. You do it with your quarterback having clearly a bad hamstring, and you're down a bunch of playmakers, right? You're down your starting right tackle, right? You're down a bunch of guys. Do you find a way to get the job done? Right? Your defense dominates all game long. They give up a 90-something yard drive to give up the lead late. Can your offense find a way to get it done? And that's what they showed. And again, this Oregon Ducks team, I don't think they're nearly as talented as last year's team. I think they're a good bunch, but I don't think they are. I think that's fair to say. But they have a gutsiness to them. We saw this against Wisconsin. We saw this against Penn State. And, of course, we saw this against Iowa. And I think in my mind, in my book, that makes them just as good, maybe even better than last year's bunch. Because when playoff football comes around, and especially now that college football has the extended playoff, it's not like the old days where, listen, it's a 4-team playoff. You get two games, at least one, but two maximum, of course, the semifinal and the final. And you just kind of roll out the footballs. You get 2 weeks in between, and whoever's the better team, 9 out of 10 times wins, right? Because you have a lot of preparation. You have like a month off, and you get like 14, 15 days off between the semifinal and the final. Nowadays, it's different, right? You got a lot less time. You got to prepare right away. And then after the first round, you got another game. You need to be mentally tough. You need to be physically tough, right? Because you're going to play a good team. They're going to score. You're going to be down 10-0. You're going to be down 14-10. You're going to be down 16-15. Right? You're going to lose your quarterback. You're going to lose your receiver. You're going to lose your tackle, whatever it is. Can you finish the game? Are you physically and mentally tough enough to finish the game? And this this Oregon Ducks football team is mentally, physically tough, right? They've proven it week in and week out. Now, has it been perfect? Indiana game comes to mind, and even yesterday comes to mind. But perfect doesn't win national championships in the extended playoff. We saw that last year with Ohio State. Ohio State wasn't perfect. They had 2 losses going into the playoff. Lost to Oregon and got smacked in the mouth by a bad Michigan team at home. Ohio State wasn't perfect, far from it. But they were tough. They were hard-nosed. And they made a run. Oregon looks like that kind of team this year, at least the potential to be that kind of team. Overcoming adversity, tough, physical, finding a way to get it done, running the football, defense, offense when necessary. Dante Moore showcasing clutch. It's all the elements of a championship team are there, guys. Now, look, they got to get healthy, right? You can't win it all without your best players. If you're too beat up, at a certain point, it becomes too much to overcome. But their mental fortitude really shined yesterday at Iowa, and I think, honestly, even though it was only a 2-point victory, this was the most impressive win I've seen from Oregon, and to me, this is a reason why I still think they're a championship contender. The talent is there, the coaching is phenomenal, the culture is great, all those things that everyone loves to talk about, that's all still there. But now we are truly seeing mental toughness, ability to overcome adversity. I think this is a team that's well suited for playoff football. I like the Ducks the rest of the way.
Yeah, Nick, and I think, going forward, Oregon looks great, like you said, and I think down the stretch, tough games, Minnesota, USC, Washington, but this is a team, they did it, and they've already, beat some top-tier opponents. Like, actually, if you look into it, their, biggest win of the season, technically, I guess, is Penn State, but they're the ones to cause the downfall of Penn State. I don't think Penn State's won a game since they lost to the Ducks. So almost did it this weekend, but couldn't quite get it done. This is Oregon team. Love them. I love what they're putting on the field. I think as they get healthier, they're going to be, ready right as the playoff rolls around. So this Ducks team looking really, really nice. And to what you said, this is just a team. I love the mental makeup of it. It feels different than last year. Feels like a team that isn't going to make the mistakes they did last year. I think, this is a team makes it into the playoffs. And if they can, keep up this mentality they have, get healthy from some of these injuries, this is a team, I think they have a really good chance. They can come up and get, nasty with some of these SEC teams, which I think would cause them trouble in the past. Play good football. Like today, we saw, defense, run the ball type of stuff here for the Ducks. Really had a good performance in that kind of aspect. So great Oregon team. I think they're looking a lot different than they were last year, and I really like their chances to run the table for the rest of the season.